Move that the House agree to the Senate amendment to House Bill 392. Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 392 by Representative Wiedauer, the 119th, Kelly, the 16th, Gaines, the 117th. Be titled an act to amend Code Section 45-721 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to expense allowed and travel cost reimbursement for members of certain boards and commissions.
Chair recognizes Representative Wiedauer to explain the Senate amendment.
You will find the Senate amendment to House Bill 392 in your first folder. Their verbiage that they're adding just relates to security of voting systems. It's a request from the Secretary of State's office. It's also been approved by Common Cause. They've come to an agreement on this language. It's a good framework that allows the Secretary of State to use and establish security requirements for voter information to try and address an issue that we need to in regards to secure election system. I will yield for questions, best I can.
You have no questions.
Thank you. I yield the well.
On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate amendment to House Bill 392, all those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the gentleman's motion, the ayes are 162, the nays are 3, and this House has agreed to the Senate amendment to House Bill 392.
Chair. Chair recognizes Chairman Knight for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to make a motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 446.
Chairman Knight moves that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 446. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 446 by Representative Knight of the 130th, Rutledge of the 109th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 48-740.36 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to income tax credits for timber producers incurring losses from Hurricane Michael.
Chair recognizes Chairman Knight to explain the Senate substitute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If y'all remember, 446 was a fix in the tax policy in which We were making sure that the refundability of these credits did not transfer, but they stayed with the original farmer or timber, the owner who lost, had the casualty lost. The Senate has added some language, and we agreed to it in consultation with our forestry commissioner and second floor. And what it seeks to do is to make sure that we're taking into account all of the damage that was done in South Georgia. Basically, everybody's going through and clear cutting, even though their entire tract of trees was not damaged, only a portion of it. So in consultation with the forestry commissioner and the second floor, we've added this change that allows for only the portion of trees that were not that were damaged. When there's a significant still number of trees that are left, it still has to be reviewed and certified by the forestry commissioner, and we've checked with the Department of Revenue, and we believe this is going to help all of our folks in South Georgia. Any questions, Madam Chair?
There are no questions.
I'll ask for your favorable consideration for
Pardon me, there are two questions.
Yes.
The chair recognizes Representative Buckner for a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
I thought I heard, but I was having a hard time. So did you say that if the track has timber that was damaged by the storm, that this just means it would be, the damaged timber would be eligible for the credit, but any of the other getting to that damaged
I think
part
what
would
we
not
were
be?
seeing down there was that everybody's going and clear cutting the whole track, where, in some cases, the whole track wasn't damaged. There was still a substantial amount of timber that was left. And so what we're doing is making sure we're including all forest, all forest methods up here. And this was talked about in the Ways and Means back in the subcommittee back in special session. And we're making sure we're covering everybody. So it is good for our foresters. Again, we've been in consultation with the forestry commissioner, Department of Revenue commissioner, and obviously with Chairman Harrell on this to make sure that it's the right thing to do for folks in South Georgia.
Does the gentleman further yield?
Yes, ma'am.
So what was the change that the Senate made?
The Senate was allowing for the cleanup of the restoration of acre for which the timber casualty losses were incurred, where there's still an adequate stand that is expected to result in products and services in the foreseeable future. In other words, what was happening is everybody was starting to clear cut, even though they had viable timber that was still left. This is saying, whoa, you don't have to do that. As long as you got viable timber, go out and clean it up and allow for reforestation under that. So,
Okay, thank
good
you.
measure for our timber folks.
Gentlemen will suspend. The chair asks that we keep our conversations to a minimum so the members may hear. You have another question if you'd like.
Yes, ma'am.
Chair recognizes Representative Walensky to your right.
Yes,
Thank you, Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
In Section 3, it says the tax credits shall be claimed on and before December 31st, 2024. I know this is a Senate bill, but I was just wondering, why are we giving them till 2024?
That wasn't part of the original bill. The process was that if you were a casualty loss owner, you had to go in and file this casualty loss form, and it was sort of a placeholder. But you needed time in order to do all you need to do to clean up, replant, do all that. That's when that sort of placeholder became an eligible credit. So that's why the date is there, and that was in the original bill.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Chair, we have one more question from the chairman, Chairman Watson. Chair recognizes Chairman Watson for a question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do you yield?
Yes, I do.
Is it not true that this was a major part of the hurricane relief that we did back in special session?
You are correct. You are correct, sir.
Is it not true that this piece, along with the other piece that we did in low interest loans, is still the only help that our farmers and the people of Southwest Georgia have received from our state and the federal government?
Chairman, your words could never be more true. I read today that there's still no help that is coming from the federal government in regards to the relief that was promised to all of our farmers in Southwest Georgia. So, I appreciate you bringing that up. The farmers down there are still hurting. Apparently, Georgia's the only one that the state's acting so far.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, on your work on this, and I want to continue to thank this body on their work to help the people of Southwest Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield the will and ask for your favorable consideration. Senate substitute House Bill 446.
Gentlemen's yielded the well. All those on the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 446, all those in favor will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. For what purpose does Representative Carson rise?
Madam Speaker, pursuant to Rule 133, I ask to be excused from this vote.
The gentleman has that right, and the record will so reflect. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the gentleman's motion that the yeas were 162, the nays were 0, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 446. Chair recognizes Representative Gullett for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that this House agree to Senate substitute for HB 458.
Representative Gullett has moved that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 458. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 458 by Representative Gullett of the 19th, Burners of the 159th Bar of the 103rd, be titled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 25 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the regulation of fire and other hazards to persons and property generally, so as to prohibit the use of Class B firefighting foam for testing purposes.
The chair recognizes Representative Gullett to explain the Senate substitute.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Senate, they've adjusted this bill at our request. Really, they defined PFAS substances, and they also specified and kind of clarified that this still can be used during emergencies in order to protect property and life. Madam Chair, I'm happy to answer any questions.
There are no questions.
I yield the will. Thank you.
On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 458, all those in favor will vote yes, those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the gentleman's motion, the yeas were 159, the nays were 1, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 458. Chair recognizes Representative Earhart for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. I move that the House agree to the Senate substitute for House Bill 459.
The lady has moved that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 459. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 459 by Representative Earhart of the 36th, Carson the 46th, Dempsey the 13th, be entitled an act to amend Part 5 of Article 2 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to school buses so as to provide for a driver's license verification system.
The chair recognizes Representative Earhart to explain the Senate substitute.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may recall House Bill 459 passed out of this House verifying the validity of school bus drivers' driver's licenses twice a year. The change that has been made to this bill is it has absorbed the language from House Bill 394, which passed unanimously out of committee here in the House, which allows our police departments, sheriff's offices, and fire departments to authorize their public safety ambassadors to help them with traffic control. Now, this was made at the request of the Georgia Association of Chiefs of Police. It's a good bipartisan bill. Public safety ambassadors are both volunteers and paid employees of those departments that undergo the exact same post-certified, that's police officer safety and training authorized traffic control training. They are dispatched to assist and help our police officers, our law enforcement officers in the field with traffic control. And I ask for your agree on this Senate substitute.
You do have a couple questions. The chair recognizes Representative Walensky to your right for a question.
Thank you, Speaker. Does the gentle lady yield?
Yes.
I just want to say thank you for this bill, and that it is a great bill that's going to make students safer, our children safer, and thank you for doing this.
I agree. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Turner to your left for a question.
Thank you. Will the gentle lady lead?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Is there anything in this bill that allows for a volunteer to have arrestive powers?
No.
Thank you.
Public safety ambassadors are, they are uniformed, they're not armed, they have no authorization to arrest, detain, or issue citations. They work in non-dangerous situations, non-violent situations, simply to assist police officers.
There are no more questions.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. I yield the well.
For what purpose does Representative Cannon rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that this is something new for the Department of Public Safety to work on?
If the lady so states. On the lady's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 459, all those in favor will vote yes, those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the lady's motion. The yeas are 155, the nays are 7, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 459.
We are going to be at ease until 4:45. I am on my way down now to meet with some other folks here in the Capitol and take some conferees and see what kind of progress that we're making and need to make on some issues. And so I think that given the fact we're going to have several conferees involved in that discussion, we're going to be at ease until 4:45, and hopefully we will have something further to report at that time.